Welcome back to Japan, to qualifying, of course. The clouds are rolling in. It's not supposed to rain for another couple of hours. Let's see how we go then. If you're a boxing enthusiast, there's a big fight tonight on BT Sport 3. It's live from Brentwood Centre. It's Anthony Yarde against Walter Sequeira, and it'll be a big night in Essex. That starts at 7:30 this evening. MotoGP 4 free practice 4, who's got jet lag, and a contract extension for Taka Nakagami in the LCR camp.
Taka, congratulations. Big announcement this week. You will be continuing with the LCR team, did another year in MotoGP. You must be over the moon with that.
Yes, I'm really appreciate to first this team, LCR Honda, and especially the team manager Lucho is a great person and a great team manager, and really, you know, it's like his home, and it's really stay with this team. It's the confidence really nice, and really happy about for the one more year with this team. So we need to finish the top 10. This is the first step, and then maybe when start to able to finish the top 10, maybe I'm thinking about top 6, top 5, and going to the podium in the win. So
we're here at your home race. Is this the weekend we can see you maybe creep into that top 10?
This is this is the energy for me, and you know, the good news for before the race weekend, announcement about for the next season. So sure, it's more motivation, and of course this is a home GP for me. So yeah, extra energy and extra motivation. So try to 100% all the session and try to finish the top 10.
Well, he's done very well around this track before, and the perfect place, of course, for the announcement for Taka Nakagami. The track temperature is currently at 40 degrees for this free practice 4 session. And as I mentioned before the break there, we are waiting for some rain this afternoon. It seems like it's okay at the moment. It still seems quite warm as we look at live shots of Marc Marquez. Of course, this is the weekend where he gets his first chance of taking the 2018 title. Let's head over to the comm box then. It's a full house in there. James, Neil and Keith for this one.
Thank you, Susie. 30 minutes then of FP4. I wonder what we're going to see in this FP4 here. We had that damp session yesterday, which Marc Marquez took no part in at all, but Danny Pedrosa looked quite quick in. So there are still things to be done, I feel, in their schedule that they normally have to run. And it's quite an intense schedule, isn't it, the MotoGP one, because as we've said before, they're qualifying to qualify, and then they've got proper qualifying coming up. Yeah,
they basically have to sacrifice a bit of their free practice where they're normally working on race setup. This weekend even more so, like you said, Keith, because FP2 was damp, so some of the riders didn't even bother going out in it. Marquez didn't go out in it because he said, look, in those mixed conditions, he is the fastest, there's no one quite like him, so there was no point in him really, he didn't have to sort of work on that part of his game.
And I suppose that's the only, you know, you've got a risk factor there, haven't you, that you can just make a silly mistake. We saw his brother make that mistake where he touched the white line, flicked himself into space and set fire to his bike. That's just not what you want when he has a real possibility of winning this championship on Honda's home soil.
Yeah, I mean, I think it sort of demonstrates the change we've seen actually this season in Marc Marquez. He said, actually going into the winter of 2017, that next year I'm going to come back even stronger, and I know there's areas I can work on. And it's that maturity, isn't it, Keith? He's now 25 years old. He has got that maturity to go, I don't need to go out in this session. And we've seen him do a lot of things like that this year, and I actually think there's still even more to come. So does he.
Tim Walpole. Morning, Tim.
Tim's the PR man for Michelin, and he looks just like that. Hey! He doesn't
James, you spend a lot of time down in pit lane. What are you seeing? What do you think they might be looking for to do, perhaps, in this FP4 session?
A lot of soft tyres have been used over the weekend so far, because obviously the mixed conditions and not a lot of time done on the mediums. That Cal, I think, has he got a
soft in the rear.
Soft,
in the rear.
I've got him on there. So you're going to see, I think you're going to see a bit of medium and hard tyre Okay, come on, lads, ease up.
It's only because we've got a monitor to our right that tells us what tyres have got
Yeah,
on.
cheers,
He
lads.
only has to look across.
JT's there straining his eyes to look at, try and see the bands on the tyres. And I just pointed to the list where the quad tyres.
Shouldn't have pointed to him. We could have looked really good.
He looked at me then, JT, as if to go, oof, I don't like you.
You know, FP4 is, as you know, it's the only session that doesn't matter going into the Q2 and Q2 qualifying to get through. So this is the first time they will be trying the race tyres, possibly the mediums and the hards, and they'll be also on full fuel and getting that set up there ready for the race.
But of course, if you're Danilo Petrucci, who's having his worst weekend for some time, by his own words yesterday, said he's had the worst time on a motorbike for ages. I mean, it's I wonder what they're clutching straws at, because he had he slung out the road a little earlier on at turn 13, I think, and quite a fast old off.
I was just about to say, well, a little crash.
No,
that
it took the swing arm out of it and everything, didn't it?
Do you know what? After I'd finished commentating, I walked to the toilets, and they were wheeling his. Well, they weren't wheeling his bike back. It was on the back of a truck, and the swinging arm was completely snapped out of it. We saw the back wheel was detached. I don't know. I thought that somehow the back wheel had come out, but no, the carbon swing arm. It looked quite impressive. And as I was just getting my phone out to take a picture of it, they threw a blanket over the bike. They didn't want me to take a picture of something, so they don't usually mind things like that. But
well,
sort of pushed out.
Danilo Petrucci may have more to try than others. Bradley Smith, who's just gone through there on 38, he had, I mean, his time between FP1 and FP3, the two dry sessions, was, hundredths of a second difference. Didn't seem to make the jump that I was expecting him to make. He looked good yesterday, but he only looked the same today, which of course isn't good enough.
Yeah, do you know, I think that sums up the season in a way for KTM. You know, we've seen KTM still slightly lost. So Marcus is off the track.
Well,
standard.
Yeah.
Just going back to Petrucci though, lads, I've just looked at my old clipboard. There's only one Ducati in the top 10, you know. There's only one Ducati straight through to Q2. And how unusual is that over the last few races we've seen?
Well spotted. I didn't realise that, James. We normally would associate this track, certainly with the first section, first third of the lap is all about horsepower and brake stability. So, yeah, well spotted, James. Here's Marquez into turn one. Is this where he runs off the track? We'll see.
Is Jack Miller not on a Ducati?
Is he in the top 10? Oh,
he got that completely wrong, didn't he? That was bizarre. You see how wrong you got that, Marquez, then? He actually didn't even lose the front.
But it is unusual to see such lack of Ducatis that we've seen over the last, well, all season really, hasn't it?
Yeah.
We've had both Pramac bikes and both.
I think we're stuck in the past a bit with Ducati.
Well, Lorenzo's not here, so you're as well.
We've talked about Aragon, where the Hondas were faster through the speed trap. In a top-end situation where we used to see maybe 10 or 15k advantage to the Ducati on the long straights, we're not seeing that so much anymore. But FP4, they'll be dialing in whatever they can. Marc Marquez, do you know what? He's just not looked from FP1, where we see him do his usual tuck the front under and he should have crashed but didn't crash. That's standard for FP1. But he's just not looked quite all together around this racetrack. He's looked a little ratty. He's only been fourth in FP1, fourth in FP3. Those were the two dry sessions. Just not quite Marc Marquez.
I thought about it afterwards, because she asked me, did you think he was probably spreading himself a little bit too thin? Literally, he's at every PR event there is imaginable. He does twice the work as anybody else in this paddock with regards to PR. I was thinking about it. Gav says he thinks he enjoys it. There's part of that, because he comes across like he doesn't mind doing it.
But that still makes you spread yourself physically too thin.
Yeah, but I don't know if it was because he didn't have a great FP1, but he wasn't bad. He was his usual ragged self. I think, this is my theory, I don't know if you'll agree or not, he didn't do FP2 because of what I said, and that's almost gone against him.
Yeah.
Because they've all had a bit more time on the track.
What was the last time we saw him do that? We saw him calm in the FP2 session, and it really put him all at sea in his prep for qualifying.
Yeah, in Aragon.
Aragon. It was Aragon, yeah. He did the same thing in Aragon.
And he was sort of...
too relaxed.
Too relaxed. And like now, he's a session behind, even though the first half of that the damp session was on wets. Near the end, everybody was on slick. So I think this morning, he didn't look in his normal self, and I think that maybe he's playing a part in it.
And what happened at Aragon, lads?
Well, he did the same thing. He just looked...
in the race.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah. Basically, JT saying...
He caught up.
It doesn't really matter, because he came to the race and he won.
He did it anyway.
Yeah, all right. Well, I'm going to put my mic down then. We'll stop talking.
I'm just miffed that I missed one Ducati. There's 2 Ducatis inside the Q2, obviously.
Yeah,
And
you were
But the point is still valid. The point is still valid. At the end of the day, the Ducatis haven't done quite as much as we expected them to do
on this track,
on
which
this
we
track.
thought, like, 'cause you can see, look at it. It's a drag track, isn't it? There's lots of straights, and there's only like a little bit.
That's a great onboard. Looking down at turn 11.
You can appreciate a bit more how steep it is on the onboard.
It just shows you just how good that Honda engine this year compared to last year. You know, we were talking to Cecchinello, weren't we, about the difference, and he couldn't compare with what Nakano was doing this year to Cal this year, because he said that's how different the bikes are. You know, there's 2 or 3, even 4 tenths in places where the new engine is better than the old engine. So I'm going to be really interested to see how Nakagami does on Cal's bike next year. Obviously, Cal will get another upgrade to start next year. But do you think he's got that top 10, top 6, top 3 that he was talking about in his interview?
I think Nakagami was really strong at the beginning of this year and surprised us and a lot of other people with his pace. Not so much Cal. Cal said he looked really good on it in testing, but you know, as you mentioned it about the Yamahas earlier on in our commentary this weekend, that once the season gets moving and them upgrades start to come through, you know, Nakagami didn't get any upgrade. If there were upgrades, it would have been Cal that got them and the full factory bikes that got them, and so Nakagami falls further behind as the season moves on.
Well, normally you'd expect as a rookie that he would improve throughout the year, but it's a really good point.
He did, maybe.
But it's a really good point, Keith, that he probably has improved, but his bike hasn't, and the other factory bikes just pull away. So actually you think, well, he looks like he's plateaued really early on. By the way, we weren't saying that, but he's 20th in the championship. He's not doing bad, but what's interesting is, like James says, when you speak to his team manager, because he sees what we don't see, and he sees the data, and he sees what he's losing
because of the bike.
Because of the bike.
Yeah.
And he said about 0.3 of a second. We're trying to get, you know, a figure out.
Which is huge.
Which is huge. Well, yeah, that's the difference between 8th and 23rd sometimes.
And that's why he signed him again, because he knows on Cal's bike he's got the potential after his rookie season to go beyond you know, he's hovering around between 8th and 12th on average, you'd say, to make that jump up. And you know, sometimes these youngsters, you know, you get on a better bike and all of a sudden you go down the straight and they don't pull away from you on the straight. You're not catching up on the brakes after you've lost so much with the horsepower deficit, etc., etc. Just spark that confidence off, where we can hopefully see the best of him.
Shirene's popped up into the top 5 at the moment, so on the Tech 3 M1 Yamaha. Rins, it's got a kind of awkward style sometimes, I think, Rins. I don't quite know what to make of it.
No, I'm with you on that one. It's effective though, Keith.
Yeah, it's effective.
That's not having a bad season at all, is he?
Truly not, and he's really, considering he's come from busted legs and all the bits and pieces over the winter, so he was missing out quite a bit.
And at the end of his Moto2 career, the wheels really fell off the wagon. Can you remember? He sort of lost his way at the end of that season and was sort of finishing well outside the top 10.
Yeah, in the Pons team.
Yeah, lost his way a bit, didn't he, James? A couple of years back. And I wasn't actually, I was starting to doubt how he would sort of fare in the MotoGP class, but he's done a really good job.
Well, the last 3 races, fourth, and a 6th outside in Thailand. You know, to finish in the top 6 on Suzuki, and to finish in the top 6 of MotoGP on a bike that's about 5 to 8 kilometres down on the Ducati and the Honda. He's riding well. They've just lost the concessions because Suzuki's been doing so well with the podiums. But so it'll be interesting to see if they can keep that momentum going into next year. It's going to be a really busy winter for Suzuki, because they've got to really work hard. The test rider's got to do a great job for them and really get lucky on what they're going to choose. Once they seal those 7 engines, they're not going to have 9 anymore, they're going to have 7. And once they seal those engines, I hope it's a good package, because I think Rins can consistently challenge for a podium on that Suzuki if it's a good one.
Well, Simeon is having a good weekend right up until he came to turn 11 in FP4. He's been having a good weekend. He's been right up amongst them in the top 15, Simeon, which is, you know, Ducati again obviously works well around here, and it's made it work for him, but crashing at turn 11 too easy. Oh, it's turn 5 now. It was 11, it's gone to 5 unless he crashed twice.
Very similar corners in a way, the respect that they're both sort of second gear, slow, tight corners, slightly off camber.
Back to Suzuki. Of course, Gintoli is here, test rider, bike number 50, and they're concentrating on power. I think, James, your piece down in pit lane earlier was bang on it when you looked at they got the older style aluminium forks in instead of the carbon ones. They got the alley chassis and all the rest of it without the carbon bits attached to it. So chassis doesn't look like it's much upgraded, but certainly they're concentrating on the power unit there.
I think he's one of the sumo guys from.
You think?
Yeah, not a Moto3 rider, that's for sure.
Not the regular people don't turn up in a dressing gown, do they?
Hang on, JT, had a top knot like you. What you have?
They look quite cool. I'll soon wrestle you in a minute. Carry on.
Oh, here we go.
I'll tell you what, the size of Odgie nowadays, you won't beat him.
Yeah, all muscle. Hang on, all muscle.
He's pulled our commentary box apart trying to do pull-ups.
Yeah, that went wrong, didn't it?
Completely. And then you threw all our paperwork away that was hooked on the...
we make it up as we go along, don't we? There's no point in coming out with real facts.
Can't be a bit of banter at this time in the morning. I hope you're enjoying it back at home if you are up early enough to be with us. This is FP4. Join us if you want to join in. At PT Sport MotoGP is our Twitter handle. We'd love to hear from you. While Marc Marquez starts to get stuck
Look at this run of lap times, Keith. Look at that. 45.7, 45.5, 45.6, 45.5. So I look at the time. There's only one other person done a 45, and that's Andrea Iannone. I mean, that's an incredible run.
Half a second every single lap.
That's scary, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's sort of come from nowhere. Because
Yeah.
we were saying, he seems a little bit off. Like, look at his run. Look at the difference. Nearly a second a lap off.
Yeah, and all over the place.
You never know. We'll just have to look at are the tyres. Are they exactly the same rear for?
Is that monitor over
Darby?
there?
They're not on the screen anymore, are they? So we're not going to be able to see.
No, 'cause they're in now. When they go out, Pedrosa's out on mediums, front and rear. I think everyone's having a try of different tyres. I can see hards that are out there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a hard front on Morbidelli's.
Yeah.
Majority, though, you said it earlier, James, the majority this weekend, rear-wise, are going for the softer compound.
But will it last the entire race? Because it's going to be a hotter day tomorrow as well, which is going to be interesting. And it looks like sun all day long. Nagasuga has chucked the factory Yamaha. He's the wild card for Yamaha.
They'll be glad there's nothing new on it, if there isn't.
Well, there isn't.
There will be.
It's stuck with the rules. Yeah, but there's certain things that they can't do.
Yeah, engine, and that's about it, isn't it? It's only engine really that's sealed, I'm guessing, isn't it? You know, that with regards, it could have a slightly different chassis in it, we wouldn't know. Like I said, whenever there's a factory bike going around a track with a test rider, they will be testing some things. And like I said, his goal...
I think your electronic side of things was bang on it.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, you would be trying that.
That's where they've been lost. Well, that's the number one complaint.
You'll be trying that in before you get your new motor. Let's see where we go with this. What are the parameters to tune yourself up for electronically for the new motor that they're going to bang in for the winter?
And you'd want the same motor in as the factory boys.
As a back-to-back.
As a back-to-back.
Yeah.
It's an incredible gap here, guys.
Yeah, no, we got
0.4 to second. And, you know, whether you've got a hard tyre or medium tyre, I think let's not kid ourselves here. All season long, there hasn't been much difference between the soft and the hard. We've seen Dobby on the hard, Marquez on the soft, and vice versa. So you've got to say that the grip out there is going to be similar throughout all the three tyres. And Marc Marquez is nearly half a second quicker than Iannone. Dovizioso, who we need to watch out for, is 0.8 of a second slower every single lap at this point, with only 14 minutes left.
Yeah, it's looking like tomorrow could be the day we see Marc Marquez lift his 7th crown.
Wait till we get to qualifying. Let's wait and see where they all go. Gintoli then slips in behind team leader Iannone, who goes across to Aprilia next year.
He's always rubbish at qualifying, Mark, isn't he?
Yeah.
It's the only track he's not qualified on pole, did you say? It's the only track here that is not qualified on pole position on the calendar.
Wow.
So that might be why we're seeing a little bit of a spurt going on, because I know he likes the old record books, doesn't he? And he's the youngest rider ever to get 50 pole positions in Thailand last time out. And this track here, is the only track he's not qualified on pole position for.
He's going to have to work for it, judging by the way these free practices have gone. And Dovizioso looked devastatingly smooth throughout this weekend. He has not.
Wow.
Oh, look at that.
That's a great shot.
It's like he's got front wheel drive and it's understeering.
Look at the electronics working well there, where the front's just gliding. You know, it's not popping up and popping down. That's brilliant. What a lovely shot that is.
That's out of turn 10, isn't it? The hairpin at the top of the hill.
That's last corner.
Yeah, the last corner.
Was it? Oh, sorry. It's.
But there is a 2 start finishes here.
Yeah, there is. It just looks like
They look very similar as well, don't
It's
they?
so confusing.
With the
Yeah,
hairpin.
there is another start and finish up on the out of turn 10.
Look how low even his torso. Look at that. Look how
Yeah.
low his hip is. He'll be having a hip slider soon.
I love the way the exhaust pulsate with the
Fumes.
gases
Yeah,
pushing
and
themselves out.
there's a lot of talk about that riding style that he has. It's his own unique riding style. Oh, Bautista. Do you know? I'm just looking
Alvaro.
thinking Bautista's in front of your Petrucci's and people like that.
He has been quick all weekend,
Yeah,
hasn't he? But
second crash of the weekend. But when he's not crashing, he's very fast.
just pushed out of the top 10. Looked like he was going straight to qualifying 2.
Well, the
Instead,
engineer's
he's gone straight into the dirt.
The engineer's going to have to be quick because he's just slipped out of Q2, hasn't he? He's
And
in
that's the problem.
Q1.
Yeah. Oh,
tell
dear
you what,
me. No
that's-
chance there.
No, you don't save them ones.
That properly spanked him.
What I was going to say about Mark, that slow-mo of his body position, there's a lot of people say he doesn't get injured because he's so low. He's essentially
slides off it.
completely on the ground.
Yeah.
And that's why he saves a lot of the bikes.
Yeah, but
because he's already under it and like he folds himself almost around the motorcycle a little bit more than other riders.
One day, he's going to have that little finger under a handlebar.
Yeah.
Those are the things that
you
get
you can't crash over 20 times every season, and that's without talking about crashes during tests and not
without
get injured.
the crashes he didn't have that he should have had. That probably amounts to another 30 front end slides that no one else would have saved except him.
Oh, yellow flag. I think that's just Bautista.
Yeah,
getting
that's
to
turn 5. Yeah.
Valentino Rossi on a decent one here. He's just trying to get a bit of a toe off Alicia Spargo, just coming into turn 6. This is such a fast corner. That's where it starts to go uphill there. From turn 5, it's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way up to the top hairpin. Before that second, this is turn 7. That's where Valentino Rossi actually crashed last year in the race in the rain. But all of this section is all uphill, so you've got to keep that momentum going. And if you just get a little bit of a problem with the drive and the grip out of these hairpins, you lose so much.
Valet fans? No guesses. Rossi, medium front, brand new medium rear, fitted for this session now. That is the old pits, dropping down from turn 10, following Alicia Spargo to turn 11. Back down the gearbox, second gear. Oh, that's a good shot. The Moto stage, I like a bit of that.
I wonder where that is.
Yeah, I wonder where that is.
Obviously on the outskirts of the track.
That
'cause
might be in
that's
the middle area there, up the back behind the grandstand. Me and you walked up there, didn't we? We went up to the museum. There's a big grassy area.
Okay, right. That's why I've not seen that. I thought that must have been on the outside of the
No, it's
oval.
It's behind the main grandstand.
Right.
Rossi's 7th, another personal best, 46.4, but look at that, 0.8 of a second still. And you've got to say, with a toe with Alicia Spargo just in front of him, I didn't see any mistakes or hardly any mistakes just then. Looks like he's kind of pulled out of this lap now. That's a huge gap. I mean, luckily for Valentino, everybody else is about that. I mean, Cal Crutchlow's still 0.8 off, which is a bit of a surprise because he's been so quick all weekend. So Valentino Rossi, I think, has got a chance of a podium. But I thought Dobby was able to match Marquez, but at the moment Marquez is outstanding.
How disappointing have Aprilia been this year, Keith? They've got the
Unbelievable.
concessions. That means basically they can.
But it's the smallest money team. You know,
But I thought
engineering.
Aprilia were big money because
Engineering costs so much money. It's a small team to develop.
but the Piaggio group's a massive group, big money. I would have assumed that they had money to invest in the team.
They do things in a slightly weird way, I always think, Aprilia. The way they do their hiring and firing, the way they look after their number 2 men in their camp never seems to be that respectfully done, quite as neatly done. I don't know how much of that is down to personality in the team or whether that is from main management. It's going to be really interesting next year when Iannone goes to Aprilia.
But they will have to improve their motorcycle.
Can you imagine the flack they're going to be getting, internally and externally? Because there's no doubt about it, Iannone, he can turn a fast wheel.
Yeah, he's a class rider as he currently sits in 2nd place on a Suzuki.
But will he dig deep? Because we've seen how he can lack a little bit of digging deep
that's
on
the
a
whole
bike
point.
that doesn't.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. If their management aren't up to speed and they're not giving him what he needs or wants,
He might go on cruise control, and that's why. And you might be sat at home now thinking, oh, that's really harsh to say that. There's a reason Andrea Iannone wasn't signed by Suzuki, as he currently sits in 2nd place now and has had podiums this year. There's a reason.
that
because
comes to personality.
because they've seen him go on cruise control like he did last year for quite a period of time.
But the lack of empathy he showed to this man, Dovi, when he did take him out in Argentina, basically tore his own contract up. The contract was almost done when a few years ago when he was a factory Ducati rider. And like I say, that personality side of it and that lack of empathy has lost him so many opportunities, and to find yourself on an Aprilia. And it is a bit of a shame, because Iannone is one of these guys that can run at the front with these boys. There's not many motorcycle racers that can ride in MotoGP on a MotoGP bike at the front. Iannone is one of them, and unfortunately with personality, we're not going to be able to see him at the front unless Aprilia do make big steps.
Just over 7.5 minutes to go of this FP4. If you've just got up to come and join us for MotoGP qualifying, that's all coming up live here. Every turn of every wheel from Twin Ring Motegi here in Japan, just outside Mito. We're about a mile up the road from Mito, about 2.5 miles away from Tokyo.
Do you know, that sort of sums up KTM's year? Paul does his fastest lap, then runs off the track. It's like, to get a lap time out of that KTM, you have to be on the ragged edge, like you have to hold your breath, like we've all had to do at points in our career. But the KTM just seems a little bit like that. They've definitely lost their way, haven't they, with what happened with the test rider?
Yeah, I mean, Mika Kallio being taken out with that knee injury that's a bit of having difficulty to repair as well. So Mika Kallio out, and with Paul Espargaro battering himself fairly hard as well. It's all fallen on Bradley Smith, really, hasn't it, to be the development man here as well. Next year, we're told KTM aren't running wildcards. That seems strange to me as well, not having their wildcard test riders out on the track.
Well, they've seen how damaging it can be, putting them in a race situation, a race weekend against these boys. It's okay test riding on a track that when you're on your own, you're developing stuff and you're trying to push the limit, but when you ride against people that are better and better machinery, you're going to be pushing over that limit that they don't want you to. They just want you to take that bike to its limit, not take the bike to the bike's limit of this Ducati or Cal's Honda that you've just seen. Yeah. And that's where the risk has been a bit too much.
I hear what you're saying, but excuse me, if you want a fast rider, then you need to dangle a big carrot in front of him. He needs to see a way back into MotoGP or some other class before he's going to put his neck on the line to the extent you need as a test rider. I just think that not giving someone a wild card is really just blunting their tool.
I agree as well.
Cal up to second, by the way, lads, while we're doing that.
That's good. I agree. And last year, what we witnessed with the addition of having Mika Kallio doing those wildcard races, surprisingly, the results of the two KTM riders at the time, Bradley and Paul, seemed to improve.
Yeah, that's amazing, isn't it?
So that called me an old cynic, but we witnessed it on more than one occasion.
I was just talking to Mike Leitner in that session before, and they've seen firsthand, if the test rider gets injured, you go from challenging for the 10th place that they were when Kallio was pushing Bradley and Paul, like you say. Without that, all of a sudden now they're trying to push for the 14th place. They're in 12th and 13th. So just that little bit of momentum that they've lost in that development of the new equipment and new things coming through, because they have concessions obviously, so they can do a lot more than others. Mike Leitner's seen it firsthand, and that's what he's trying to prevent in the future.
Yeah, but what you're doing is you're negating your own argument there, because you get the extra performance when the guy's out on the track pushing the two main factory guys.
Yeah.
Three's a crowd.
Don't agree.
I don't agree.
I'm only being devil's advocate. I know exactly.
See you, James.
I know exactly what you're saying, but it is.
James, when me and you were racing and we were teammates, imagine if we had a test rider in our team
who was fast,
and he turned up at the first practice session at whatever track we went to, and he was quicker than me and you. What would me and you be thinking?
That's why we didn't allow it.
But what you know exactly as an ex-rider, you'd be like, well, I'm not having this. There's no way he's going to be quicker than me. And then you just find that extra 2 or 3 tenths. Also, let's not forget, last year KTM improved throughout the season. Then when the season started, that gap got bigger because all these teams, all the factory teams that have concessions, their development halts throughout the season. Then as through winter, they then find another half a second. So it's, like I say, last year at this point, KTM had really closed that gap.
That's why some rock bands don't have support acts.
Is it?
Well, just in case they're too good.
Exactly.
Understood that one. 3 minutes, just under 4, sorry, minutes to go in this FP4 here at Twin Ring Motegi.
Do you know a bit about
the Grand
music,
Prix
James?
of Japan?
Every now and again.
I heard you singing the other night.
I heard him rapping before you came on air a bit earlier on.
It wasn't as good as Neil's rapping, I must admit, because that was another level. It's almost like, well, you know, Burnley, watch out.
My name is Neil. I have sex appeal.
All right, Keith.
No, it was definitely better than that.
It wasn't that.
It was definitely better than that. Cal's on a quick one. Look. on the second split. I tell you what, lads.
Strong weekend.
Not just the podium
Very.
tomorrow. He's
on for a win.
Well,
you got him on for a win,
not
JT?
for a win, but he can certainly go with Marquez if he qualifies well, and that's going to be really exciting. But on a Honda, against Marquez on a Honda, at the Honda track, to win the championship, how much is he going to look at down that hill on the last lap?
Yeah, you mean he's going to think... He's going to think about the past and then think, oh, maybe...
Long and hard.
Hang on, we're talking about Cal, though. Yeah.
He'll still think about it.
This is another thing we know better than a lot of people. They don't give away MotoGP wins. If there's a win on and it's a last lap down into 11, Cal will take it.
I know we won't be seeing that carbon fibre swinging arm in Valencia.
Or next year.
No, next year possibly, yeah. But no, I definitely think he's got the actual race pace, and it's proven it. You know, just a 10th off on that last lap, 45.6, and they are both a half a second quicker than the rest of them. This is what happened at the first part of the season, wasn't it? In Argentina and Qatar, but there was only really Marquez and Cal, and America. There were only them two, really, that
On
got
the
the race
8th
pace.
day, God created Cal Crunchlow.
He's enjoying it.
That's what Gav should have on his socks.
Bit embarrassing though, that's his dad, so a bit embarrassing. Yeah, I'm not only joking. Deck's not here.
Do you reckon he was British?
Hey, it's good to see this, but if it's Deck will probably be up and watching this. It's amazing to see Cal doing so well after all these years of hard work and dedication.
He looks smooth as well. He looks really, really smooth on that bike. He doesn't look like he's pushing his luck anywhere. It's been every lap I've seen Cal, he's looked properly on it and properly smooth with it.
Yeah. I'm saying.
Oh,
Marquez
there's a stunner. There's a stunner.
It is.
Marquez has chucked it away. He's on his feet and he's okay. But Marquez in FP4, and that is before qualifying. Wow, the #1 bike.
Did that shoulder pop out?
Let's wait.
It looked like
he's had it before, James,
He
hasn't
has
he?
indeed. Turn 9, that's quick enough. Down at the V corner coming in.
Remember, there's two back-to-back after this. If he injured himself and Dovi wins them all, there'll be 2 points separate.
Yeah, it's looking.
Well, usually this is a trail breaking in, and this is one of them that slams you down.
You straight
bit of a face planter.
Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Let's listen as well.
We're a bit early here.
Yeah.
This is 6.
On the brakes.
Into 7. It's not here.
Oh,
it is. Here. Wow.
He ends up. Wow, that's quick.
Exactly the same place as yesterday. Where he lost
That's
it.
it.
Wait for this.
You're right, James. He lost the front end and saved it, though. Last year.
Let's listen.
That handlebar has clipped his leg as well.
Yeah, it did.
That was exactly the same place
And
where he
he's
lost
still
it
looking.
yesterday, and he saved it yesterday. But
Well, that's an old-fashioned Honda.
and how unusual is that, lads? Because he doesn't usually make the same mistake twice, does he? Once he's found the limit on a particular place, he doesn't usually go over it.
What tyres do you have in?
Slicks.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Michelin's.
Compounds, anybody?
He's here. Mediums. Medium front, medium rear.
Okay.
New stick.
Were you thinking to see if he'd gone out and tested the hard front?
Yeah, I
No,
was
we
just
seen
thinking
the
whether
Honda,
yeah, that was my reason without all our flippancy in here. But if he had, then that might have given just that one clue.
Yeah.
10 seconds left.
I'll tell you what the clue, you want to know the clue is? Just look at the times. He's that much quicker than everybody. The clue is he was over the limit. Really, you know, there's a reason why.
The others will be pleased about it as well.
There's the man with the gloves. Both men with both sets of gloves on, by the way. One's with the Marquez gloves, one's with the Valentino Rossi yellow gloves. So, FP4, what about that?
Well,
Crutchlow ends up going quick. Marquez ends up going through the gravel trap.
anyone else, Keith, I would be getting worried or concerned. It's like, well, it's a Saturday, so yeah, he's crashed. I don't. It's like I don't like it to sound flippant, but it's
almost a normality.
It's a normality. Yeah, he's found the limit.
But one day he is going to get a digit stuck under a handlebar or somewhere, and it's going to cause him pain.
Yeah.
And he can only be lucky so much of the time. Cal's always got one hand in the air. What's the matter with him?
I'm convinced if you put a microphone in Cal's helmet, he talks the whole way around. I know he does. Oh, look, Dobby's on a good lap here, but he's 0.6 off.
He looked good through there, though. That Ducati looks so, with him on it, looks so smooth everywhere. What does that do for him? Dobby, 146.025. He's, like you say, he's half a second off the top time of Marquez.
And that, though, is going to be race pace. Will be low, probably low 46s, though thereabouts. He'll have done a lot of laps on those tyres, and he'll be doing what Dobby does. Doesn't get flustered, doesn't get frustrated by seeing a gap from Marquez, because he'll work focus on himself really and his own motorcycle, getting the best of it in race trim. That said, it must feel nice when you come round and see the yellow flag out and you see number 93 picking his bike up, because just to confirm for yourself, you think, yeah, well, his lap times are good, but he's on the absolute limit.
Well, he was, and he has been. You know, the few times we've seen him, Alberto Puig there in the corner. He's a stern-faced fellow, isn't he, nowadays, Alberto?
Bautista's impressive. He ended up 15th in that session, but he went out on his spare bike and set his fastest lap on that last lap.
I think he's been a real steal for World Superbike next year. You know, if that Ducati works like rumour has it, it will. I think he's going to be a proper contender next year. You got that feeling, because he's certainly still peaking. He's still racing. He's not going there for retirement.
Yeah, he's not. I'd say, I don't know if he's still peaking, but he's plateaued, but he isn't on the descent. He's not, well, okay, I'm done here. I'm just going to try and earn myself,
I'll take the money,
a couple of $100 here, and you know, no, he's going there with a point to prove, which is good for everybody.
So that's how it looks after FP4 here at Twin Ring Motegi. Marc Marquez is brought back on the back of the shuttle bike, and he will now be thinking about what went wrong, and we'll be thinking about it too while we take this break. We'll be back with qualifying. It's coming up in just a few minutes.
Frank Warren has described him as a new Nigel Benn. Anthony Yard, gate crashers, world rankings.
We're looking at the next generation here on BT Sport.
Sup, player? You thinking it's too much hassle switching energy supplies, even though it could save you hundreds of pounds? With U-Switch, it's a cinch. Like the time you put up that tent before darkness fell. Or that time you changed that duvet by yourself. That's right, Stephen. Just go online or call them up, and the rest is history.
Steve can do this.
Yes, you can.
U-Switch. Switching made simple.
In a way, it's all a matter of time. You're not alone. I'll wait till the end of time for you.
Lloyds Bank, by your side.
It's June, Dad.
Hello, June. How are you?
Hi. You off hiking? These came next door by mistake.
Sun Life. Must be my guaranteed over 50 plan. Fantastic.
Oh, yes. I've seen the ads with parking.
That's it. I just wanted a guaranteed cash sum to help cover my funeral costs. Seemed the right thing to do, you know, for the family.
I've read about how fast funeral costs are rising.
Exactly. Sun Life's guaranteed payout can be worth thousands. And it's really affordable.
Easy to arrange?
Yes, you can do it in a few minutes. No medical, no awkward questions.
Oh, perhaps I'll get a guaranteed over 50 plan.
Give them a call. The first month's free.
What's the number?
Call us today on 0800 55 60 60 or search Sun Life Plan.
Oh, and you get a welcome gift card. Might get some new binoculars with mine.
Call today on 0800 55 60 60 or search Sun Life Plan.
In a world full of clutter, noise, and style without substance, shouldn't we be making life a little less complicated? The new Volvo XC40. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Legendary play, enthusiastic fan. Take a bow.
Oh, what a play by the second baseman.
Can you believe it?
Welcome back to Motegi here in Japan. Qualifying today, of course, and free practice 4 session we have just seen with MotoGP. With the crash that always happens with Marc Marquez. He always has at least one, really, doesn't he? But bad timing.
Oh, God, bad time. And he doesn't usually make the same mistake twice. We saw yesterday that moment that he had in exactly the same corner, exactly the same place. He saved it yesterday because it's such high speed. Look at that. Turning in at 200 kilometers an hour. And when he loses the front just there, yesterday he was able to pick it up. Today he wasn't. And he, as I say, doesn't usually make the same mistake twice. Is that the first time we're going to see Marc Marquez, the pressure of the whole thing of getting this championship across the line here in Japan at Honda circuit? Just there, look, just lost the front, just on that turn in. It's just slightly uphill, but it flattens off just on the camber just as you turn into that corner. Really, really tricky corner, really fast. You don't go around a left-hander for a long time because turn 3 and 4 is the last left-hander, so the temperature of the tyre drops a little bit as well. And he did. Big mistake that, especially before Q2.
Well, shots there from coming back into the garage, and you can see that he was absolutely okay. Gavin was down there, confirms that no injury or anything else, but that's his #1 bike. Is that going to make much of a difference to him? I mean, normally it does make a difference between your bikes, but we're talking about Marc Marquez.
That's it. Well, I'd like to talk it up and say and dramatise the whole thing and hope that it goes on beyond Japan into Australia, this championship. But we can jump on his paddock bike, can't he, and go out there and possibly go on the front row. He's incredible at like shrugging off that. Those kind of mistakes and that adrenaline, you know, when you've crashed and then you get back on and, you know, your heartbeat goes over 200 beats per minute in a crash like that. But he seems to be able to control himself and compose himself very easily. He's not in Q1, he's in Q2, so he's got a good half an hour now to calm down.
Got time. It's interesting, the qualifying here. It was last year. Of course, the weather conditions were very different last year. It was a wet track and dried towards the end, so it was very much about timing. But there's a lot of riders going in Q1 that went straight through to Q2 last year. The likes of Petrucci, Spargaro, they were very quick. And the KTM boys that are having to go in Q1, they both were straight through to Q2, and they feel like they've gone backwards this year, don't they?
The Ducati and the Honda have improved unbelievably this year. The Ducati's been 0.8 of a second at most tracks faster than they were last year. We know the Honda engine has been a massive improvement from last year that Carl said, and that's with the results that Carl's been getting this year and the consistency that he's had. And KTM haven't really made that kind of jump. They're doing pretty good, but like you say, you know, to be where they are, they've gone from the kind of 10th place to the 15th place just because they've not improved as quick as the Ducati and the Honda.
Well, that's who's coming up for you in Q1 and Q2. And actually, it's worth mentioning that last year in Q1, both of the Yamahas had to go, and Valentino made it through. As I say, it was different conditions, but you could almost say that they've made a small step forward.
Oh, just from Thailand alone, isn't it? Never mind from last year. They didn't make that big a jump from last year to this year, and I think that's what we've seen. The problem with Yamaha is Ducati and Honda have made a massive leap this season, and everybody else hasn't made that kind of jump, and that's why we're seeing the Yamahas struggle a little bit. They're both in Q2, though. For me, Bautista, if he's okay after that crash, he's got a great chance. Petrucci has also had an off this weekend, so Petrucci and Bautista, for me, should be going through into Q2 in this session.
It was Zarco in pole position last year. We're looking in the LCR garage there. What are the chances of Cal getting pole position?
Big chance, especially now with Marc Marquez with that tip-off, because they were half a second nearly faster than everybody else on the track just then, in race trim though. So in qualifying trim, as we know, Dovi's Ducati is going to be right up there. But now with that little bit of a tip-off, Cal Crutchlow can definitely be pole position here in Japan.
Well, here they go then. Let's see who can get through to Q2. This is Q1.
Taka Nakagami rolls out onto pit lane. This is qualifying 1. The top 2 will join the top 10 that have qualified for qualifying 2 through free practice 1, 2 and 3. And we will try and talk you through it. If you have just woken up to watch qualifying proper, thanks for your company. We are at Twin Ring Motegi, 2.5 hours up the road from Tokyo in Japan for the Grand Prix of Japan. This is day 2. Friday free practice was done, a little bit of rain in the afternoon, but now we're getting a little bit of wind for this afternoon's extra conditions. Sun has stayed with us, the cloud has blown by Twin Ring Motegi, and it's cleared off away from us. No rain is imminent, that is for certain, so we should have a dry qualifying session throughout. Tomorrow is all sunshine, according to all the weather apps we've looked at. Big crowds expected here, difficult place to get to perhaps, but I think we're going to have a big old crowd here, probably a record crowd I should think, and a chance for Marc Marquez to win for the third time he's won a Grand Prix World Championship here. Of course, he's won in 2014, I think 2016 as well. And he'll be looking to try and do it on Honda home soil. They own the track. But having just seen him throw it at the fence again, maybe a little bit of momentum has been taken out of young Marquez. And we'll see that in qualifying 2 in a moment. So 15-minute sessions. There is Alvaro Bautista. I've got him to go through with Petrucci. Who are you going for there, Neil?
Yeah, we had this chat, didn't we, just before they came back to us. I'm going for Petrucci, and I'm going for the hometown favourite, Taka Nakagami. He's not had the speed all weekend, Taka Nakagami, but I'm just hoping that, you know, that feeling, that home race, stick me some new soft tyres in, and I'm going to hold my breath for a lap.
I don't have him down as one of them breath-holding types.
Well,
we'll
yeah,
see.
Yeah, he seems a little bit more measured than that, but he's a motorcycle racer and it's his home event, so he's got potential.
And here he is, the number 30 then, Taka Nakagami.
Come on,
see what
Taka.
he can do. Teammate 2, Cal Crutchlow. A lot of inside curve there on that turn 1, and it really snatches at them as you get a bit of grip on the old Ripley sand-filled.
Yeah. It's not what you think in some areas when you going on the curbs. It does get.
Oh, hang on.
He crashed there earlier in the session, didn't
Had
he?
another go at it there.
Another go at it
in
there.
front of his teammate.
Tell you what, he's not scared, is he, Alvaro?
No, that's one thing I would never have been marked up for. He's small, but
do you know what,
brave.
I was speaking to Frankie Carcetti, who works in the Aspar team. He works on the other side of the garage with Carol Abraham, and he said, you should see Bautista. He said he's a machine. Really small, but he said he's as fit as a fiddle. Comes in after the race in Thailand, and he said he's not even sweating, he's not even tired. He said Carol comes in and he looks destroyed. You know?
Yeah.
He's certainly a professional athlete, is Alvaro Bautista.
Here's a man who's had a good weekend so far, Javier Simeon. We're always highly critical, or rather the world seems highly critical of him. He got the job basically to put some sponsors to the team, and Javier Simeon got that ride. But here, he's looking more like the Javier Simeon we've seen in Moto 2 times. Got a bit of pace around this racetrack, but I have to say I'm mindful of, if you saw Hodges' track walk earlier, 50% of this racetrack is because of the bike, the performance of it. The rest is down to the rider.
Not a bad first lap from
Shireen.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't have him up for that, I've got to say. He looked good in FP4, but...
so we've not really mentioned his name all weekend,
well,
have we?
FP4, he looked good in FP4, but I didn't expect him to be out. There's Nakagami. Oh, blimey, how wrong can I be?
Hang on, it's early, so it's the first run.
Yeah, but Bautista, you would have expected, mind you, he did have a little bit of a wobble on that lap, didn't he?
Yeah.
So,
where's
Gintoli, the wild card on the number 50 Suzuki, 7th in this session at the moment. There's a lot of red indicators up on my board. There's Gintoli. Sylvain, great guy, really nice guy, test rider for Suzuki. Always think of his Grand Prix career ruined, I think, by that clash he had with Josh Brooks at Donington that time. Just as he was elevating himself into greatness, Sylvain really had to have too much time off through that broken leg that ensued from those two tangling at the Melbourne Loop at Donington all those years ago.
So that's a long time ago.
It is a long time ago.
How long ago is that? 7 or 8 years?
Oh.
Probably is now.
Got to be all of that.
Well, he won a World Championship after that, didn't he? Actually,
in the end,
yeah,
but
Superbikes.
the momentum he had at that point, he was going to great things, I felt, with Sylvain. The only Frenchman I've ever known that speaks with a Derbyshire accent. Nakagami, Shireen, both on flying laps. Bautista's has gone away a bit. Scott Redding, keep an eye on Scott Redding. He's on it. There's Nagasuga on the wild card factory Yamaha.
We didn't mention Alicia Spargo, who's got form.
He's the man for gritting the screen.
Yeah.
By that, I mean...
holding his breath.
Yeah.
Riding over the limit on one lap. Here he is. Oh, not Scott.
Scott's on a good one. Where's Scotty going with that? Oh, yes.
Nakasuga, second.
Nagasuga.
Factory Yamaha.
Oh, here we go, Morbidelli. I thought he might be in the mix. He's looked good throughout the weekend as well. Aleix went to the top, then Nakagami went again quicker. They are really duking it out here. Here's the number 1 bike for Marc Marquez. That won't be playing in qualifying 2. A little bit too much work to be done on that. So he'll be running his second bike. That and half make him under pressure, because if he throws one up the road, he's not going to have a chance to come back for one.
Yeah.
He's run out of bikes.
Yeah, they're not going to get that one ready, are they?
No.
Oh, someone's down. Somebody was down in that corner. Petrucci's on a good lap.
Good.
His first flying lap was terrible. He's currently last. He's been all over the place.
He's had a weird weekend.
FP4 wasn't too bad, but
slow.
Well, yeah. Oh, Bradley Smith up to second. Good lad. We didn't mention Bradley as well.
He was looking good yesterday, but I couldn't work out why FP3 wasn't quite going the way it should have done. He only just about equalled yesterday's FP1 time in FP3, so Bradley Smith will wait for him to come through. Here's then Petrucci striding for the line. It's a little way up the straight here, got to wait for it. Petrucci going to go top for sure, 45.8. 45.8, that ain't a bad time. 45.1 was Dovi's quickest FP3 time. So 45.8. Considering Petrucci has had a bit of a mare of a weekend so far. Here's Taka.
So
they drive from no revs.
Yeah,
he just rolled that thing out the corner. It was like a road bike.
Who's first and second at the moment, Keith?
Your two men. I've only got one of them. But I'm waiting for my man Bautista. He's in the pits.
Yeah, he's got. He's
coming in the pits. Lucio Cecchinello.
I used to race against him. Did you know that, Keith?
Yes, I did.
Back in the day.
Lovely man, Lucio.
And he was back then when he was a young man. I raced against him when we were both, let me think how old we were. We were both 18.
Is that right?
Yeah. For the same age.
Oh, yeah, I'll tell you what, it's rare, but you're just standing the old hairs on my arms up there. That kind of thing, I like that, you know. We're all paddock people, aren't we? I mean, we're dyed-in-the-wool paddock people.
Once it's in your blood,
it's there forever.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. So, new soft slick goes in the back.
Come on, Taka.
Yeah.
Do you know when
if only for Hodgie.
When I spoke to him on Thursday, I mean, I speak to him a lot. He's one of the really approachable, relaxed, friendly riders who's always walking around the paddock. When I was talking to him, he's just such a nice bloke. You know, there's no ego, not arrogant. He's put on some beef, I tell you. He's put on some muscle.
He looks strong now.
A lot, yeah.
He does look strong compared with his Moto2 days.
I bet he's put on a stone in muscle. Yeah. He'll have gone from, because in kilos, 63 kilos is like the optimum weight for Moto2, and I'm sure he was on that.
Yeah.
I bet he's put on probably 5 or 6 kilos.
Part 2, qualifying 1, coming up now then. We are at Twin Ring Motegi. It is a 2.983 mile racetrack. Pretty tricky in places. You need the motorbike to be with you in a straight line as well. The top 2 from this qualifying 1 will go through to join the 10 that are already through to qualifying 2, courtesy of their quick times, their top 10 quick times in FP1, 2 and 3. Petrucci's bike, warmers on, just trying to keep the heat in the tyres while things are being tied up.
I tell you, Bradley Smith needs very, very little to get through here. If he can just improve, if he can find a 10th, he'll be through.
Has he been through to qualifying 2 yet? I don't think he has he?
Good question, not too sure.
Yeah.
It's on your sheet.
It's a good question as well. I shall have a look for my Bradley Smith.
I've done a Colin today. We call it doing a Colin, where I've turned up with no sheets in front of me. I've got no information. Colin just turns up and wings it, and we love him for that.
Problem is, this will be including other motorcycles, not just KTM.
Right. Is it on there, on the performance, the best qualifier?
Oh, you're talking about this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fairly obvious.
So this man, it's be interesting to see how he goes next year on that factory Ducati. I mean, he's riding a factory Ducati this year, 2018. And what I'm interested to see is what difference being in the official factory team, having the #1, the best engineers all around you. I mean, Danilo's really experienced now. He's had lots of years on that Ducati. We've seen him sort of improve almost every year, but this year he's plateaued a little bit. Can he make that step? Can he become a race winner? And I don't know the answer to that.
No.
My gut feeling, unfortunately, is saying
no.
Probably not.
Yeah.
But I've been wrong before.
And happily so.
And I really hope I'm wrong.
Yeah. Is Bautista going for it, by the way, with Bradley Smith? No, is the answer. Qualifying 2.
Yeah, he's not got
this
to
year.
qualifying 2 this year.
Carol Abraham on the 17 machine, chasing Bautista. Bautista has got a red light up on sector 2. Can he keep that going through 3 and 4? Here is Bautista.
Not getting anyone to chase. He normally likes a bit of a tow.
He does. That's true enough.
So doing this on his own is really impressive.
Don't get a lot of choices, though, when you've only got a 15-minute session with two goes
true.
at it. Sometimes you just have to get out on track when you get out on track.
Yeah, 2 crashes already this weekend for Bautista, but he's not shy.
Yeah, that won't stop him, that's for certain. So out of turn 10, down towards turn 11 to complete that third sector. Bautista, computer only says third, so he's not going to make it if he doesn't do. He's got another lap after this one, obviously, but sector 4, if he doesn't pick up the pace in sector 4, he is only going to be third fastest, and your shout of Petrucci and Nakagami is going to be good to go. Here we go then, up towards the line. Bautista launches the thing. Oh, he just pinched it out of sector 4. That was a good sector 4, and look at his teammate.
Wow, I mean, Carroll got a perfect toe. He was behind
really
him. But...
Wow. So Nakagami pushed down to 4th. He'll be coming back at that. But that was a great one from this man on the oldest bike out there.
Oh, here comes Frankie.
Yeah.
This is a good one.
Oh. Bradley Smith is up as well. Look at Bradley Smith. A red light on for Bradley Smith. Come on, Bradders. I'd be happy to be wrong about the top 2 if he's in it.
Me too.
Here comes Morbidelli. What's he got? Oh, he pushes Bautista out. Morbidelli's looked good this weekend, and he's just proved it. Will Morbidelli make it up into qualifying 2? Here's Nakagami. Look how close it is. Mum and sister.
Holding their breath. Bradley's on a great lap. Come on, Bradley.
Bradley Smith looking for top slot. Here comes Nakagami. Does he pinch a place in the top 2? No. Petrucci, he's not on a great lap either. Petrucci's going to hang on, though, because he's in the top slot at the moment. So if this man manages to nick it, Bradley Smith goes to the line. Come on, Bradley, have you got sector 4? Oh, where's it gone?
Oh, the timing,
it's frozen.
Yeah, he has gone fastest.
It's frozen.
Yeah, but he's gone fastest on that.
Oh, thank heavens for that. Bradley Smith has gone top. The tower that you're looking at on the left of your screen, the graphics have blown up, probably because Bradley has just fooled them all. Bradley Smith is top man, 45.7, and he is nearly 2/10 quicker than Petrucci's time. So forget about what's on the left-hand side of your screen. That's now frozen. They'll wipe it out in a minute. Here comes Bautista again. What's he got for us? Gintoli's gone quicker, but only 12th. Oh, Bautista misses out. He's got another lap if he wants it. 2-minute warning. The man with the gloves has got the flag ready. Smith is going through to qualifying 2 because Bautista doesn't have a lap in. A minute left before the flag comes out. They are on their last lap.
Oh, that's quick.
That is so quick, and that's destroyed that motorbike. So down has gone Morbidelli. Wow. Well, we saw Petrucci go there earlier today. Now it's Morbidelli's turn. Get off the track, my old mate, just in case someone else is coming in.
Oh, look at the
There's
bike.
the bike. It's gone. Well, you heard it clatter, didn't you, in our mics? So yeah, they're going to put that in a plastic bag and take it back to the factory, because I don't think that one's going to be fixed for the weekend. Now then, anyone else on a quick lap?
Bautista's on a quick lap. Petrucci's on a quick lap.
Morbidelli.
Nakagami's on a good lap. Here he comes over the line.
Does he get it? Morbidelli.
Yes!
He does. Nakagami goes top. Bradley Smith second now. Paul Espargaro comes up to third place in this session. Petrucci's only 4th.
Petrucci's out of it.
Shirin has gone in. Yeah, Petrucci is. That's done. Checkered flag is out. Shirin has put himself on the 5th row. Bradley Smith comes under the checkered flag. He's done for that. Wow.
Bautista's on a great lap. He's a full 10th up. Here comes Alvaro.
Can he make it work? Down into turn 11. I tell you what, he's got that hop, skipping and a jump, but he makes it. Now he goes under the oval through the 2 left-handers.
Looks
then
good.
A flick right for victory corner. Bautista is going to push Smith out again. I have the feeling Smith has been here before and he's been lobbed out of the qualifying position. Yes, he has been. That's a disaster. Bautista and Nakagami. Well, we get one each then. Me and you.
What a shame.
Yeah,
for,
what a
Bradley.
shame for Bradley. I feel certain in my mind that Bradley has been in that qualifying position before and has been bumped in the closing stages. Bautista and Nakagami will go through to qualifying 2. I can't see anybody else going any quicker. They've sorted our graphics out on your screen at home. 45.4.
He'll be
3/10 off of Dovi's FP3 time. Wow. Bradley Smith will lead off the 5th row, but that's a 10-yard deficit to the 4th row.
Yeah, this man will be gutted as well. expected to go through. I think we did all expect him to go through.
But he's had that kind of weekend.
Yeah.
We're talking about Danilo Petrucci, who we're on board with.
5th in this session. Where's that put him, Keith? On the grid.
Well, if he's 5th in this session, it puts him in on the 5th row.
Yeah.
He's in the middle of the 5th row. Bradley Smith will lead the 5th row. Oh, sorry, he's on. No, Polis Bargro is in the middle of the 5th row. Danilo Petrucci only just held on to the 5th row. SHARE was the next up on the 6th row with Morbidelli and Abraham.
He was on a good lap as well, was Petrucci. He'd gone through the first split, well over a 10th up, but he must have made a big mistake.
Morbidelli was on for a fast old lap, but he was running a hard front tyre, Morbidelli.
Yeah.
Maybe too hard.
Yeah. But
the Honda does respond to a hard tyre, doesn't it, at the front? And we've seen quite a lot of that, but maybe just one compound 2 trick.
It didn't give him any warning, that one, did it? That slapped him down.
Petrucci's didn't either, did it?
Same style of crash.
Definitely the same. But this man's through. Top job. Taka Nakagami. Good for the home fans, good for Honda. Bautista and Nakagami go through from qualifying 1 to qualifying 2. 12 riders then will fight for the front 4 rows of the grid. That's coming up.
Well, great news for the home rider Taka Nakagami, a contract extension, and he goes through to Q2. Well played.
Oh, incredible stuff for the home fans. You saw how pleased the Japanese fans were about that. He just scraped him because what a lap it was from Bautista. That must have been his 3rd or 4th flying lap on that rear tyre, and to do that kind of lap time, just coming out the last corner here, look at him step up that bike, because when you've had a few laps on that tyre, it's starting to wear down, so he had to pick it up as soon as he could to get it on the fat part of that rear tyre to get the drive. What a lap it was. A 45.4 is the 2nd fastest lap time of the weekend.
He went over the green there. He's not going to get that lap taken away from him, is he? Looked like he was on the green.
I didn't see that, Susie.
See that? Can we have a look at that again?
If he has, then that will be investigated for... Oh, no. That's what they're replaying, isn't it? They'll be looking at that. It seemed to me that a part of the tyre was just on the white bit as well as the green bit, but that is really close. If he gets the lap scrubbed off for that, that will be very, very unjust for me.
Yeah, that will be a shame, won't it? He won the mini moto race. I don't know if anybody watched that on the socials. It was a brilliant little mini moto race that some of the riders did actually, and he won that. He's having a great weekend. He's already won a race, and he's through to Q2. Let's go down to Gav now, who's with the LCR boss, Lucio Cecchinello.
Yeah, great session, wasn't it, that one for Taki? The fact he's doing it in front of the home fans, they're all delighted with it. What can he do now, do you think? Because he found some pace in that session.
Yeah. He did quite well, really well. I mean, when he put the second couple of tire, we did a small modification in the front suspension, in the more preload and more dumping, and then now he said that is the right direction, and then perhaps he can slightly improve a little bit again more.
What about his teammate Cal Crutchlow's chances of pole as well now, with Marc Marquez having that crash before at FP4? Do you think Cal has a shot at it?
Well, will be fantastic, but let's keep the feet in the ground, and for me, you know, if we can be in the first line or second line, it's really good, because tomorrow is the most important.
It might be the most important, yeah, and there's every chance he'll be there, front 2 rows. But has he got a chance of that podium? He has looked consistently quick this weekend, and he's not just one lap.
Yeah. Honestly, we came here and then we were a little bit worried, because this track wasn't particularly fit for us, and he's really he's doing an amazing job so far.
Well, let's hope that continues into qualifying, Lucio. Good luck for both riders.
Finger crossed. Thank you.
Yeah, both LCR riders through then to Q2, and you saw shots there of the sunshine. It looks as though the threat of rain has completely gone away. It's actually pretty hot down here in the paddock, isn't it, JT, at the moment?
It's amazing. The forecast is nothing like what it was going to say, that it was saying yesterday for us. But if Taka Nakagami does that lap time in this next one in Q2, he won't be on the first 2 rows, definitely. He might even not be on the first 3 rows. They did a 45.3 in the FP1, and that's 45.4. It's a 10 slower than they went on FP1, so that lap time for me is 11th and 12th. These guys are all going to be in the 44s.
Yeah, I'm glad we're in the Ducati garage, because I want to ask you a few questions about this. Obviously, we're looking at the man who can stop Marquez win the championship here in Japan, Andrea Dovizioso. We know he's not normally a pole hound, but he's had pole position here before. He knows how absolutely vital it is to squeeze every possible momentum out of this weekend. But his teammate, Jorge Lorenzo, he's not going to be riding this weekend. Now, when he left Thailand 2 weekends ago, he had an examination. And he obviously thought that he had a chance of riding this weekend. And we know that he rides and has ridden and won races in great pain. But he's come here with absolutely no chance of riding. And I just wonder about the assessment in Thailand, because why haven't they got a replacement rider out here when they're fighting for the Constructors' Championship?
Well, I talked to Davide Tedozzi yesterday when Lorenzo did one outlap and pulled in and said that is it for the weekend. I could tell in his voice he was very, very surprised by that decision so early. I think Lorenzo must have just rested between Thailand, underestimated what injury that it was. They didn't want to operate on it because it was in such a precarious place right on the end of that radius, because if you put some screws in that kind of area, you can then restrict the movement, as I know as well. So it was a surprise for Ducati as it was for Lorenzo.
You do wonder though, don't you? Because they normally do have a very good indication that they can go out there and give it a good shot, and to go out and do 1-2 laps and know that it's too much, it just seems a little bit strange. And I just wonder about the assessment in Thailand, especially when you go back and look at, you know, Eugene Laverty in World Superbikes, for example. They couldn't wait to get him out of Thailand.
Sometimes an injury, when you're resting it, there's zero pain and it feels fine. And with the injury that he had to his leg and his foot also from the crash in Thailand, he might have just sat back, rested that body. It didn't feel too bad, but as soon as he put some force and pressure through it, like he did just then on the Ducati yesterday, the pain can go through the roof, and it really surprises you sometimes. I think, yeah, like you say, they've definitely got caught out with it.
Yeah, it sounds like they're going to have probably Michele Pirro or somebody on a flight on the way over for Australia, because it looks very...
Hodgson.
Pardon?
We did offer Neil Hodgson.
Well, no wonder they decided to go with no one instead of Neil.
But as Davide's words were, we were afraid he was going to say yes.
We're looking at shots then here, live shots of Cal Crutchlow in the garage, and we heard from his team boss earlier about possible podium tomorrow. I'm wondering whether, you know, he could even get a possible win here.
Well, look, Marc Marquez has just had a fast crash, about 120 miles an hour. Marc's just crashed out, and as we know, it doesn't ruffle his feathers usually, but it's definitely advantage Cal Crutchlow for me. He's looking like he was at the beginning of the season when it was just him and Marc and there was a bit of a gap to everybody else. I don't know whether Dovi tried something new in that FP4 and he was half a second off the pace, and now they've gone back and he'll be fine again. We'll soon see in this Q2, but for me, it's advantage Cal at the moment.
Was that, did he just take a whiff of an inhaler there before he...
He did actually, didn't he? I'm not sure if he's suffering from a bit of asthma. I've never seen that.
He does have asthma, doesn't he? So...
I've never seen that, actually. You know, I've known him a long time.
You don't normally see him do that, do you?
Anything to open them lungs up before Q2. You'll be trying everything, because to battle a MotoGP bike round here, you need every breath you can get.
And to get pole position here in a dry race, how important do you think it is at this track?
Very much so, because the first two 180 horseshoe corners in turn 1 and 2, turn 3 and 4, that can really separate that pack, because if you make one slight mistake, the track's so narrow in between 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, if you go slightly wide, you're on the curb, on the grass and on the gravel very easily. It doesn't take too much of a mistake, and you can lose the fight for the lead just in those 4 corners.
And we know it is going to be a dry race today unless something dramatic happens. So these conditions are indicative of what they will see out there on track tomorrow. You just saw Maverick Vinales in the garage. Both of the Yamahas are through to Q2. So here is the shootout then for your top 12 for the pole lap. Let's see who's going to get that front row. All important. Let's head over to Neil and Keith.
I wonder what the Yamaha garage have got for us. And I wonder what this man's got left in the tank, because he's already wrecked one of his motorcycles. And now we're going to see if he's going to be able to come up with something for this qualifying 2 session. FP4 didn't go well. Valentino Rossi, we always say it, is a Sunday man, leaves everything for Sunday, is working on Sunday, but needs to qualify as well, reasonably well, to stand any kind of a chance of that podium this weekend. Marquez leads this championship by 77 points for Andrea Dovizioso. Rossi's another 22 back, and a further 26 back is Maverick Vinales. That's your top 4. This man has looked the smoothest all weekend so far. Johann Zarco is back on the kind of form that we've seen Johann Zarco on in the early part of the season. Had that dip in the middle of the year. Great quote from Neil Hodgson earlier on when we were commentating yesterday. Something along the lines of, do you think the bike's got better? Which I quite enjoyed, because we were working out whether it was psychological or machines that were causing Zarco the problem. Big crowd here. on this qualifying Saturday, live on BT Sport. Twin Ring Motegi, 2.983 miles around this racetrack. Soft tyre in the rear, that's the favourite, there's no doubt about it. The fastest times have been set on a soft rear tyre. Medium fronts for some, but soft again seem to be the quick tyre. Dobby's on soft front and rear. Hondas generally run a slightly harder compound front tyre anyway. But having seen two big crashes coming out of turn 12-13 up before the final corner on this Motegi track, you've got to wonder whether you've got to pick right that front tyre.
Yeah, they'll all be aware of that section. It's you know, you're on the side of the tyre for a long time, and that's where really the compound comes into play. A lot of these riders like sort of a harder compound for the braking zones, because this track's all about braking, but there are sections like we saw through turn 12-13 where you carry a lot of corner speed and a lot of lean angle, and if you've got too hard a compound, that's where it lets go on you.
Franco Morbidelli was running the hard compound front tyre. We saw him, he's the latest one to have launched himself there. Danilo Petrucci did earlier on in the day, destroying their motorbikes, but already Marc Marquez is just getting down to business. He's on his first flying lap. 15 minutes, they're going to have two goes at it round here. Lap times low 45s. Will anybody break the 44s? I suspect they will, you know, today.
Yeah, I think they will as well. What's your gut feeling with this chap then? Is he going to do it?
He has been, just as we were talking about in Aragon, where he looked like he took one session out of his sequence. FP2 here, he didn't bother to go out in FP2, and he seems to be like one session behind in his run towards that pole position. You can never bet against Marc Marquez, but this guy has looked consistently solid. Andrea Dovizioso, he's pulled out that lap. Yeah, he's pulled right out of that lap. So as we come out of turn 10, down towards turn 11, he'll keep the heat in the tyres. Track temperature is up. The clouds are blown away. The sun is on the tarmac. It's probably the warmest we've been here all weekend so far.
The thing is with Dovey, he's not normally a pole hound,
That's
is
true,
he?
yeah. His record is poor on pole.
Just, what is he? About
6.
Yeah, about
6 poles.
In all those Grand Prix.
192.
Wow, yeah.
192 Grand Prix, he's only had 6 poles. You can expect him to be a front row man. Suppose we could actually have a bit of a Pedrosa moment here. 49.3 he's gone through at.
Yeah,
miles off.
Yeah, they both shut off, didn't they? Because Marquez was behind him, actually.
Now we get more to it. 45.9 by Jack Miller. Bautista, he's still there. I'll tell you what, if you're fighting him, you better take a gun.
Yeah, you'd have to do a good job on him the first time, because you know he's coming back.
Rossi. 45.8. It's going to be much quicker than that as they get going. They'll have a couple of good goes at it in this opening foray. Maverick Vinales has looked happier since Buriram, really, or at Buriram and onwards. Here comes Zarco. He probably has the pace. Goes fourth, that's all. Disappointing opening lap from him, a 45.9.
Marquez is well up.
Here he is.
Up. So it's Crutchlow. Crutchlow's 0.3 up through the first split.
Cal has got that pace at the moment, and he's looked relatively smooth compared to Marquez, who's not looked smooth anywhere this weekend. He's just looked, well, I find it hard to say that he's overriding, because he's not the kind, he always looks like he's overriding, but just not quite got the setup, not quite got the bike where he wants it to be.
Crutchlow's half a second up, Keith, halfway around this lap.
A nice British pole position in Japan, that'll be what we'd like. That'll get everybody up tomorrow morning, that's for sure. Red lights on everywhere at the moment. You know, he's gone with a medium front on a soft rear on the Suzuki. So sector 4, you know, now he's just started that. Marquez is about to come to the end of it now as we get into victory corner, up past the obelisk with all the numbers and times on. Marquez will go to the top, surely. Pedrosa for a moment moved up a place, 45.182. That's getting close to where they were in FP3. Here comes Iannone. What's he got for us? 45.4. Bautista 40, Iannone 45.150. Oh, 44s, here we go. Crutchlow's in, 44.909. The first 44 of the weekend so far, Cal Crutchlow, and we ain't done yet. Yep, that will have come up on his dashboard right now. He'll know that's a really good time. I wish we'd seen it.
Yeah, it didn't show any of it.
No.
A bit frustrated.
Yeah. Zarco over the line. Does he go any... Well, he goes personally better, but it's only 6th place, just about hanging on to a second row at the moment. This is for the front 4 rows of the grid, remember. 10 yards between each row. And it's, what, some 250 yards to turn 1, turn in. I paced it out last year.
Not bad for Marquez after the crash, his first proper flying lap.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's quarter of a second off.
But Cal Crutchlow, they're coming in now, by the way. That's why we've got grey markers up there. Marquez is looking like he's going to stick with this lap. He'll see what he's doing at the break. Might just put himself in 2nd place in this session, but he'll add an extra lap to those tyres before he comes in to start again, which may just compromise his 2nd run. He's going to go for it. He's not coming in the pits.
Yeah, I think he's trying to get a little bit of rhythm,
more feel.
Yeah, after the crash.
Yeah, I think you're right. Absolutely, you're right. But it will mean that when he's on his quick lap, there could be riders around the circuit in his way. He goes 2nd to Crutchlow, doesn't manage to break the 44 barrier, but put himself in a good position there. Sabanka. Jack Miller over the line. Only 3rd row for Jack Miller, 45.4. Where have these times gone? Just looking at some of them, 45.4. Yeah, well, Miller's his best time is 45.6 actually. So during the course of the weekend, Danny Pedrosa slipped down to 11th place. Nakagami is about to get his first flying lap when he gets to the bottom of the hill here and does the last 3 corners. Here's Crutchlow's bike being prepped.
How many pole positions has Cal Crutchlow had in his career, Keith?
I'm going to immediately look at that rather than take a guess at it. Cal Crutchlow in 137 MotoGP. Remember, he's only ever been in the MotoGP class. He's had 4 poles.
Yeah, not many.
Not many at all.
It'd be just nice, this, wouldn't it?
4 poles, 15 podiums, and you know about the wins.
And what a way if he can get a pole, just to start this leg of the championship, these 3 flyaways.
What a way to thank Honda.
Yeah. Yep.
Honda have put a lot of faith in him over the years, and they work closely with Cal Crutchlow away from the factory team. But if he can pay them back with a pole.
Yeah, pole and a podium. Oh, pole and a win, we'll take.
Pole and a win, yeah, we'll take that.
And then we go to probably his favourite track. We know how good he is around Phillip Island.
Well, he's looked smooth here. The thing for Cal Crutchlow, for me, this entire weekend, I mean, I don't know whether he'd argue with it or not, but he's just looked like he's got great rhythm here, which bodes so well for a race. You know, that pole time, I won't say it came easy, because a 44.9 is not going to come easy. You know, the lap record here is a 43.7 by Jorge Lorenzo in 2015, the pole position, a 43.7. Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
That's crazy.
Over a second quicker. But it's one of those tracks where weather and conditions and track temperature and that was 2015.
That'd been the Bridgestone era.
2015. So, you know, and it is one of those tracks where you rely a lot on the front in the braking area, where Bridgestone was brilliant.
That's a fair point.
You know, down into here, you'd have been trail braking like yards later than you will be able to on a Michelin. Yeah, the way you have the bike set up for a Michelin.
The Bridgestone DNA was all about being able to make up time on the brakes, and that is the nature of this track. It's 80% about braking, isn't it, Keith?
Yeah. So, part 2 of qualifying 2 coming up. Crutchlow is on provisional pole. We have 4 minutes and 40 seconds exactly to go. Will Marc Marquez come up with something that we know Marc Marquez so often can come up with and grab that pole? Medium front tyre, soft rears. That's the way the Honda rolls. Dobby's on a soft and a soft. Iannone has a medium front tyre and a soft rear. Rossi, Zarco, Viñales, Bautista, Miller. Pedrosa's gone for the medium, but everyone else is on softs. That's about par for the course, really, isn't it? Slightly harder front end for the Hondas. Gigi Dell'Igna looks on. Nice nails, Gigi.
Iannone floating around.
Yeah, as usual. You said it earlier. You said exactly that. He usually likes someone, a nice little tow truck, and he's got the best tow truck. Looks across there at his board. Did Dovi. Now I wonder, I don't think he's going to be worried about Bautista being there, but he looked pretty casual through that turn, I must say.
He did.
And that might mean that he's going to leave it all to the very last lap.
Yeah.
Let's wait and see.
Well,
it's only 3.5 minutes to go.
He knows Andrea Iannoni's there as well. Bautista, I think he knows he could probably eke away a little bit, but with Andrea Iannoni, who's famous for biting the screen.
Worth mentioning as well, Neil, that there's a little bit more wind about in this session than there's been before. I don't know how that might affect some of the riders and some of the bikes out there, but there is a little bit more wind than we've had this weekend so far. Blowing across the track. Nice dark line now appearing around this twin ring Motegi road course circuit.
Yeah, there's the rubber's
down
now being laid nicely, isn't it?
Marquez. Oh, get in there. Oh, and there was a day when that Honda would have really snapped at being put through that. Late apex.
That looked good.
It did look so good,
That
didn't
looked
it?
perfect.
Yeah, really beautiful on the way in and hooked up on the way out.
It's going to have to be perfect if he wants to get pole position. He's got to find a couple of tenths. That's if Cal Crutchlow doesn't go any faster.
Yeah, so first sector, Marquez about to come to the end of it. It was a perfect first 2 turns. Yes, no surprises there then. Oh, he's only 500ths up though. Let's see what he can do with the second sector.
But Keith, it shows you just how well Cal Crutchlow's riding.
Really does. Still Dovi. This lap, he's coming to the end of the lap. And he's got Bautista behind him. They shook off Iannone, but he will start another fast lap. 2 minutes to go then. He's got 2 more laps in him. Dovi, I'm talking about. Crutchlow's on a fast one as well. This is still with Marquez. He's only a tenth, not even a tenth, 100th, sorry, up at the moment on Cal Crutchlow's top time. Oh, look at Zarco. He's having a go as well. He's well up. Crutchlow's well up on his own time. Wow, this is going to be one of those sessions. 2 laps maximum they've got left each. The checkered flag man is making himself ready. Down from turn 10 to towards the end of the lap. Drops off the hill now, looks for the braking area. Into turn 11, a little bit sideways. We've seen him here. This is a tricky corner. Oh, he's out wide.
Very wide.
Too wide. He's lost a tenth or 2 there for sure. This is turn 12, then 13 is straight after it. Hooks back a gear. Now we're on to the last corner. Marc Marquez looks to square it off. Gets on the gas. I think he might have lost too much time there. We'll see. Marquez, where does he go? Does he lose it? He gets it just 44.889. He's 200ths of a second. Oh, Jack Miller. Miller's got top. Miller has found something on the Ducati. Zarco went top for a minute. Crutchlow goes second. Marquez is still second row. He's got a quick first sector going though. Miller. 44.727 on the Ducati. Absolutely incredible. Where's Tommy going?
And Crutchlow unfortunately destroyed the first corner on the next lap, so he's done. The checkered flag's going to be out by the time he gets round. Miller from nowhere.
From
Keith.
nowhere.
We've not mentioned his name all weekend. I think he got a good toe.
He's looked good, but he's gone quick again through the first sector. Jack Miller, he's got to string another 3 together to make that work again. Who says he can't do it? Let's have a look at Dovi when he gets to the line. Dovi may just pinch top spot and pole position. Goes for it. 44.590 from Dovizioso.
Miller's down.
Miller back to second. Miller has crashed.
Marquez is out of it. He's backed out. He's going to be 5th.
Yeah, middle of the second row for Marquez. Jack Miller turn 5. Blimey. I don't know whether I'd fancy that. Oh, that's that hairpin one. I was thinking the 6 that was the quicker one. So 5 Miller has gone down at, but Dovizioso had pinched pole anyway. Checkered flag is out. Here comes Viñales. Mixed lap for him to the line. Where does that put him in the end? In the final reckoning, it puts him on the second row. So that was a very good one.
Zarco is the only man who can spoil the party for the Ducati boys.
Has he just had to sneak past Marquez as well? He's into turn 11 at the moment. Let's stick with him. He's got that good. Yeah, he got that really well. Marquez mucked it up last time around. So Zarco, 2 turns. Here we go.
Well, pole there last year, Keith.
And again, maybe this time. Zarco over the line. It was mucky conditions last time. It's dry all the way this time as he comes to the line. Is he going to nick it off Dovi? No. Dovizioso, Zarco, Miller. That is a mixed up front row. Dovi on a Ducati, Zarco on a Yamaha, Miller on a Ducati. So we've got factory Ducati, independent Yamaha, Tech 3 do it again, and an independent Ducati as well. Crutchlow leads off of...
Iannoni's still in this.
Hang on, yeah.
He just lost a bit then. It's a 10. He'll have to have the perfect last corner.
Crutchlow Marquez, Vinales, row 2. Will Iannone bump Vinales off of the second row? Hang on, Bautista is too far away from it at that. Iannone is the man we've got to keep an eye on. Wonder why we're not. There goes Miller over the line. Iannone behind them. Here he is.
Fifth.
Just about pinches 5th. So Marquez, he's bumped Vinales off of that second row start. So Vinales will have to start from the 3rd row with Rins and Rossi. Bautista, Pedrosa and Nakagami are on row 4. Great pole position from Dovizioso because he's almost made the day look too casual.
Yeah, well, like we said, he's only had 6 pole positions in his career. This is his 7th pole. He's the man who he doesn't risk too much. He's happy with the front row start. Where this man, as we know, is the exact opposite. He will risk everything. He always risks everything. When was the last time we saw Marquez qualified down in 6th place?
Well, Zarco and Miller, for me, are the shocks there. Oh, that's nice. Hervé Poncharal getting the congratulations from Paolo Giabatti. Hervé Poncharal, top man at, well, equal top man with Guy Coulon at Tech 3. Good job, Johan Zarco, but Dovizioso is the pole man.
And Rossi and Vinales will be disappointed.
Massively.
Both on the 3rd row, whilst they see their old bike qualify right in the middle of the front row.
Here he is, Zarco.
This last corner was the absolute limit, Keith. He went in a little bit too quick, and then like handbrake turns it there, whilst trying to pick it. Look at him spinning at that point.
Look at the way the tyre spread out over the tarmac there, squidged in to try and give him the drive.
And seeing him fighting, throwing his body weight forward, trying to keep the front wheel down, trying to get the thing turned. He's looked like a different rider this weekend.
Yeah,
from
completely.
The first lap of free practice 1.
Davide Todozzi marches the troops down to Parc Ferme. Ramon Facada just moves out of the way and walks out of the garage. He'll be walking out of the team at the end of the year. Vinales looks down at the timing monitor, 7th.
No, Rossi as well, shaking his head. It's rare you see that. What happened, he's saying? That didn't, that would, I mean, what is he, Rossi? It's 0.6 of a second off.
Yeah, what was his time? 45.2. Rossi's best time in 45.4. His quickest he's been this weekend, though. Yeah. Even though he's disappointed. This is your man, Jack Miller. Well, I won't say from nowhere because he's looked pretty good all weekend here.
Yeah.
But I didn't see that. I didn't see a top 3.
Oh, this will be the crash because he crashed as well, didn't he?
Let's have a listen. Wow. I don't think he even picked the throttle up, did he?
No.
He just fell out from under it.
Trail braking in. He was on a good lap. He was, but anyway.
Yeah.
He'll
He's
take
okay.
that.
He's okay. And front row start for Jack Miller. And it's a sprint down to turn 1 as well.
Yeah, it is. You're right.
So the Ducati will be a useful tool, I think is the point I'm trying to make. Well, Marc Marquez, he answered the question that we asked. He didn't have anything better in him. Purely and simply, he has not looked like a rider that was particularly going to threaten pole position for me this weekend. He's just been a little tiny bit, by his standards, all over the place. That is a proper unusual front row, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
really
7th in how many Grand Prix did I say for Dovi? 193 Grand Prix. Only his 7th pole position. Pretty impressive stuff, and the team are going to be happy with that, even with the absence of Jorge Lorenzo this weekend. Andrea Dovizioso puts himself in the perfect place.
Perfect place indeed. Absolutely sensational performance from Andrea Dovizioso, doing everything he can to try and take the championship beyond this weekend.
We can see Marquez was ruffled. You know, with that crash before, and Dovi actually went to 2nd faster than did in free practice 4. So whatever they were trying in free practice 4, in a race setup, as we know that they try, didn't work. But they must have come back to what did work. And the 7th pole position, he's not a pole man, but it just looks effortless. And I can't help but think that now the championship is going to go to Australia, because I don't think Mark can beat him tomorrow on that package.
Well, you've been saying that all day, and really this kind of backs up your theory with him putting it in pole position in such a smooth style, and that was the key, really. We'll have a look at Marc Marquez being ragged in a minute, but no Hondas on the front row. you know, Cal is the fastest. Let's have a look at that now then, as we've called that up. This is Mark, and he does look like he's all over the place on this lap.
I mean, it always looks
even though it was a provisional pole.
Well, this was actually the lap before when he went wide, and we thought, well, that's that kind of lap gone. And as he comes through the penultimate corner, he flicks it into the last corner. He steps it up so quickly, and with the drive that he got, but look at it, look at the wheel spin and the movement on the rear of that bike. Remember, this is his number 2 bike. He doesn't usually have a problem flitting between number 1 and number 2, but he crashed his number 1 bike in FP4, and I think that could have been his problem.
And then we had Jack Miller going into provisional pole position there before going out and sort of smashing it because he just went over the limit. Let's hear from him now. The brilliant Jack Miller on the front row is with Gav.
Yeah, it was brilliant. Almost pole position there, just pipped at the end. We'll ignore turn 5 and what happened after that. But where did that come from, Jack?
Yeah, I knew I had speed all weekend. We've been there or thereabouts, just haven't been able to put it together. And even in qualifying, we weren't able to put it perfectly together. I was only meant to do 2 laps in the first run, but on the second one, just had a big slide through turn 6 out of the tunnel. The fast one, it sort of shook me, and I ran wide where Mark crashed, and it's a really, scary corner because it's off camber. So then I did 1 extra lap, and I was just praying that I was going to get 2 laps in the second run. And yeah, the first lap on the tyre is always a little bit slippery, and my first sector wasn't the flashiest on my best laps. And then the next lap, I went through sector 1, I saw I was 2/10 under, maybe got a little bit overexcited and brake far too late for turn 5 down the bottom there. And yeah, I was going in way too fast. So I thought, hey, we're here now, you may as well try and make it. And she didn't hold on for me, but no, the boys have done a really fantastic job this weekend. The bike's working great from start till now, and yeah, another front row for us this year on a year-old bike, so I'm very happy. You know, we're learning, and it's good to be back up here.
Good to see you up here as well. Have a good one tomorrow, Jack. Well done.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Absolutely impossible to not love Jack Miller, isn't it? 2 Ducatis then on the front row with a Yamaha sneaking in the middle of them in Johan Zarco. I mean, well, how extraordinary. We know he was in pole position last year, but extremely different conditions.
Yeah, really different conditions. It was damp, wasn't it? And a really awkward. I think they were 5 seconds off this kind of pace last year, so the track wasn't perfect whatsoever. But look at how he's riding it. The aggression, the way he sat that Yamaha up out the last corner. Look, you only have to look at the way the other Yamahas. I mean, obviously, 0.6 of a second Valentino Rossi on a factory Yamaha is behind Dovi. So for Johan to do that, is back to his old self again. I don't know what happened to him mid-season, but nice to see him back up there.
Yeah, not for the first time ahead of the factory Ducatis. We can hear from him now. Gav's managed to grab hold of him.
Yeah, great to see you back up here on the front row again, Johan here. Just missing out on pole for the second year running in Motegi. But what is it you love about this place?
True, Motegi is a good track for me. Braking strong and coming to the corner, I don't know, there is something special that I like. The track is always also pretty nice, no bumps, and you can really trust your bike and trust the track. And that's why maybe from FP1 I was pretty fast since my first outing, and for the qualifying, first exit has been a bit difficult. Then we changed a little bit the bike, but was just enough to really be fast. And I missed a little bit the last chicane. I did a mistake when I have to shift down from 3rd to 2nd gear, and that's why maybe I lose the pole. But first row is so good because when you struggle many races, you must accept to enjoy the 2nd place.
Still seriously impressive on a year-old bike, Johan. Congratulations, well done.
Thank you very much.
Extremely impressive, and we saw Hervé come down the paddock just before they went out. He had a bit of a spring in his step, didn't he? He looked pretty confident with that. But great to see him back up there. And Neil's joined us, but we can't speak to him now because Andrea Dovizioso, so the pole man, sorry about that, go away, is with Gavin.
Yeah, and he's just giving Davide Tardozzi and his manager Simone Battistelli a little bit of grief out there, but he has taken pole position. We know he's not always a pole hound, but this says how much this track is working for you and the Ducati this weekend. You must be full of confidence to keep that championship open for another week.
Yes, the confidence is there. We knew before to come here. The track is good for us, the track is good for me, so we did what we expected. But Mark have a really good pace. I think we are in the same level about the pace, but we did the weekend in the opposite way with the tire. So we never rode on the same temperature and with the same tire. So we really don't know the pace of both. But overall we work Well, the base was really good from the beginning, but we improved a little bit in this afternoon, and I was able to make a really fast lap. I knew after this morning that lap time I was able to do it. So really happy, and thank you very much to Ducati and to all the people who are working at home.
Good job, well done, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, looking very relaxed and very happy. And Neil, take this one away.
Oh, I mean, it's just classic Dovi, isn't it? I mean, it's immaculate, perfect riding. It doesn't even look that fast, but he's been on that motorcycle for so many years. He knows how to get the most out of a Ducati. So he makes up time on the brakes. He doesn't carry much corner speed, and he makes time down the straight. Incredible.
His body language in that interview said quite a lot to me. Do you feel like, what are you looking at me like that for?
I just feel like we're watching a nightclub.
Oh yeah,
Where's
I
that
know,
come
it's
from?
the music.
Sorry,
Normally, track, you hear rock music, but here you get all sorts of other kinds of music. Yeah,
I think it's
all
called
good.
techno. Is it?
Just quickly, before we go to a break, are you with me?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh no, we've got to go to a break.
sorry,
I've been
Susie.
absolutely told off.
What a lap, brilliant lap.
Let's do that, a brilliant lap from Andrea Dovizioso. So we'll see you for Moto2 after this.
At Homebase, there's amazing autumn offers for your home and garden. Get in quick for 3 for 2 on Dulux coloured and mixed emulsion. We've also got 2 for £70 on 2.5 litre Farrow and Ball modern and estate emulsion, usually £45 each. Hurry, offers end soon. Homebase, always your home, always low prices.
Ah, that picture-perfect home. We pin, we share, we like.
Like?
We wish. Made.com delivers design with a difference. Get that picture-perfect home at a price you'll...
Like.
Shop hundreds of independently designed products at Made.com. Different by design.
Hey! Welcome home. Can you smell the incense? Relaxing.
What's all this?
Say hello to Pumpkin. Isn't she cute? So remember when I said not to use purple bricks?
Yeah, you said we'd have to do it all ourselves.
Apparently they can do everything for you. Sarah and Dom love them.
So why did we pay all that commission?
Save yourself from commisery at purplebricks.co.uk.
I'm here to remind you to visit Top Cashback to get cashback on top of your online shop for top holidays, on top utilities and broadband, on tip-top insurance, and on top takeaways. To top it off, it's easy. And members get an average of over £300 cashback from thousands of top brands. So join the millions of members already getting cashback on top of their online shop with the top trusted, top paying, top cashback website.
Glasses. Direct to your door. Go to Glasses Direct and before you buy, try them on at home for free. And right now, get 2 pairs from £19 with lenses. You should go direct to glassesdirect.co.uk.
Petit, tout est mini dans notre vie.
All the things you need for every step of the way. Make it Squarespace.
Petit,